Now, what are some things that were not in the documentary that viewers should know?
One would be, there's a lot of nasty rumors going around right now that I myself have heard for many years before this even started.
What rumors specifically?
There's the rumor that, there's a videotape with animals and involving sex with animals, and a couple other salacious videos and pictures. Jeff Lowe said he had those the day after Joe ran away from the zoo. Because Joe ran away from the zoo, and the very next day, Jeff and Lauren got there. And I was still employed at the zoo at the time, so I went to the meeting, and in that meeting, they told us everything right then and there. They said, we've been working with the FBI, Joe's going to jail for murder for hire, and mind you, this was months before he was even arrested, and just listed everything that he ended up getting charged with, and said, oh, and by the way, we have a video of, I can't remember who he said, but he said he had a video of someone having sex with an animal.
Was it Joe or was it someone else?
I don't believe that it was supposed to be Joe, but I don't want to say a name because the allegation is so salacious, and I have not myself seen the video,
Okay. So to your knowledge, Joe Exotic was not having sex with animals?
Not to my knowledge, but I honestly would not be surprised if a video surfaced and it either featured him or had him in the background. I wouldn't be surprised.
But do you think the video is real?
I just don't know. All I know is what I've been told. It's odd that I would hear the same rumor multiple times over a period of years for that not to be true. I will say that.
What are some of the things about the production of Tiger King that people might not know?
Well, I mean, we had to sign releases. If you work for Joe Exotic and filmmakers come to the park, you're going to be in the film and you aren't going to be paid. So that was like standard procedure anyways. So we signed, and I'm sure when we signed that, we probably, signed. It was just an appearance document. We didn't get paid for this. Like, we did not know this was going to be this. Like, a lot of people say that Netflix told us what to say. They didn't, because Netflix did not make this movie. Netflix bought this series. They bought the series from the directors. So,
Right.
How they chose to chop it up in the end may have been influenced, but how it was shot, apart from the last episode, the add-on episode, that had nothing to do with Netflix.
Yeah, you received zero money throughout all of this.
No, Netflix has not. I have not received anything from Netflix at all. Like I said, I'm doing cameos and I'm still working my regular job, and I'm just kind of hoping that something will come along.
Did they frame Joe Exotic to get him out of the park?
Yeah, I believe they did. All the evidence that they used in the case, all the facts, they're out there for anyone who wants to gather them and look at the evidence objectively. You have to step back from the whole situation, take away your preconceived notions and your feelings about Joe and Jeff and the whole animal industry, and just ask yourself, is it okay for the federal government to, entrap you into, committing a crime? I don't believe that the answer is yes.
So you do believe that Joe Exotic was framed?
Sure. But I think it was a conspiracy to take his zoo, and the federal government played along.
So Joe is still mad at you for not coming to the trial?
Yeah, because he hasn't reached out to me. I mean, he reached out to me when he initially got arrested, and we communicated back and forth for a while. So I know he knows how to get a hold of me. So, I mean, the fact that he isn't, kind of speaks for itself there.
Now, would you ever work with Joe Exotic again?
No.
Do you think Trump should pardon Joe Exotic?
I would have to say no. But I do believe that he should offer clemency to Joe Exotic. And I would not be surprised if he's not got people in the White House working on internal polls as to see, what kind of bump in the polls he might get if he did offer clemency or pardon to Joe Exotic. So I definitely think it's possible. And I think he should consider clemency. The guy has an autoimmune disease, and 22 years does seem like an awful long time for someone at his age.
What about Carol Baskin? Have you heard anything since this release? Like, what have you heard from her or about her?
I haven't heard anything from or about her, but I can imagine she is really mad because we didn't even realize how they were going to portray her until they did in the series. There was one point during the filming where I almost thought that maybe they were filming on behalf of Carol Baskin because of the questions they would ask me during the interview. And I kind of had a little bit of anxiety for, a period of several months, thinking that they were, just filming for Carol Baskin, take everyone for Joe down. You can't put anything past these animal people. The folks in the animal industry are vicious.
So when you were filming, or they were filming this documentary, what did they tell you it was for?
They kind of gave the impression they didn't make any secret that they were going to try to sell it to Netflix, but I myself didn't really think that they would, that Netflix would be interested. I don't know where I miscalculated there, but somewhere in between a global pandemic and nothing to watch on Netflix, it happened.
Do you think that Carol was portrayed correctly in the docuseries?
Yeah, I think she was. I stand by basically what I said at the last 10 minutes of the series. All this money, all this time, all these volunteers, all these years that we'll never get back. This whole time we could have been spent preserving the actual natural habitat of tigers. Instead, all we have done is contributed to making a #1 Netflix series. That's all that's come out of this.
Are there any reality shows that you are interested in, that you would consider?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure there's many I would. I'm a pretty decent singer sometimes. It just depends what kind of mood I'm in. Maybe The Masked Singer.
And then, in your best Joe Exotic voice, can you give us a Carol fucking Baskin?
Carol fucking Baskin.
Hey, this is Joshua Dial, and you're listening to the Domenick Natty Show.